Next guest gameplay will be with George Ortega on Jeopardy for the Game Boy. I just finished playing Wheel of Fortune for the Game Boy with Nancy, winning her $34,000 and $25,000 cash in the bonus round. Let's see how George Ortega does on Jeopardy for the Game Boy. He'll be this guy, taking on Gale. And George Ortega will go first. Let's take a look at the categories for the Jeopardy round. They are Stevens, Rock and Roll, Nature, Man in Space, Magazines, and Bears. Let's do Bears for 100. A small scout or a baby bear? What's a cub? Bears for 200. Because bears are born in this season, they can nurse while their mother sleeps. What is winter? Bears for 300, please. Bear with a dangerous reputation in Dan Haggerty's Adams. What is a grizzly? Bears for 400. Fur on the soles of their feet keep them warm and help them walk on the ice. What are polar bears? Bears for 500. Bears for 500, like I said. Western state once known as the Bear Flag Republic. What is California? Stevens for 100. She asked Kooky to send her his comb. Who's Connie Stevens? Oops. There we go. Stevens for 200. He dropped out of the wild world of rock and converted to Islam. Who is Cat Stevens? Stevens for 300. He played Appassionata von Climax. in the film Lil Abner? Who is Stella Stevens? Stevens for 400. Norma Ray was based on this textile plant which stuffed 17 years of labor trouble. Who was J.P. Stevens? Stevens for 500. Sergeant York's bewitched character. Who's Darren Stevens? Darren Stevens, excuse me. Oops. Magazines for 100. Known for condensed books, its condensed Bible was a big seller. What is Reader's Digest? Magazines for 200. For his Olympian feat in the organizing the games, Time named him Man of the Year for 84. Who is Peter Uberoth? Uberoth, excuse me. How about magazines for 300? One of its dubious achievement awards went to the man who opened the Cabbage Patch Doll summer camp. What is Esquire? Magazines for 400. Scientific Society's magazine that outsells Penthouse and Playboy. What is National Geographic? We'll pick magazines for 500. By repeating his "What are you going to do about it?" Harper's Weekly helped bring him down. Who was Boss Tweed? Man in Space for 100. Country which had the first woman to walk in space. What is the Soviet Union? Man in Space for 200. On September 29th, 1985, this film director activated META, a radio to contact extraterrestrials. Who was Steven Spielberg? Man in Space for 300. Apollo 11 astronauts Armstrong, Collins, and Aldrin each also flew in this program. What is Gemini? Man in Space for 400. Small ones of these, called drogues, open during a capsule's descent. What are parachutes? And Man in Space for 500. Mankind first sent a probe into one of these, 44 million miles from Earth. September 11th, 1985. What is a comet? All right. Rock and Roll for 100. Group that, there's no moss. Who are the Rolling Stones? Rock and Roll for 200. Elvis' 1960 musical question for someone sitting on a Saturday evening. What is Are You Lonesome Tonight? rock and roll for 300. He was the morning DJ on WOLD. Who is Harry Chapin? Let's do rock and roll for 400. Her song Anticipation ended up on a Heinz ketchup commercial. Who's Carly Simon? Rock and roll for 500. The two left-hand members of the Beatles, who are Paul and Ringo. One category left, and that's nature. Nature for 100. Insects such as a giant stag whose name means spider, not Paul or Ringo. What's a beetle? $200. A tabletop enclosure or raising and observing plants or animals. What is a terrarium? $300. All of a bird's feathers considered together. What is a plumage? $400. Oh, daily double. I'm gonna wager $1,900. All right, I'll put me 10 grand if I'm right. Here's the clue. Concealed enclosure for shooting wildfire with guns or cameras. What's a blind? Oops. All right. Now the last clue. A field biologist such as Beebe or Muir. It was a naturalist, I believe. Yep. And now we move on to Double Jeopardy. Gail goes first. She hasn't even had a chance to ring in this whole first round. Explorers for 200. Perry looked for the north one, Amundsen in the south. What are the poles? Okay, let's see what the other categories are before we go explorers for 200. For 400, excuse me. The other categories along with explorers include former capitals, music, literature, World War II, and generals. Now let's go explorers for 400. He was just the first to come to Florida seeking the Fountain of Youth. Who is Ponce de Leon? There we go. Explorers for 6. Seeking a route to Asia, he discovered New York's largest river. Who is Henry Hudson? Explorers for 8. Though he had discovered the Pacific Ocean, he was later falsely accused of treason and beheaded. Who was Balboa? Explorers for a grand. America's longest suspension bridge is named for this Italian explorer, a pirate, who is Giovanni de Verrazzano. Oops. That is not the way you spell it. Former capitals for 200. Until Brasilia was cleared from the wilderness, this was Brazil's capital. What is Rio de Janeiro? Former capitals for 400. For 200 years, its Tsars ruled from St. Petersburg. What is Russia? Former capitals for 600. Till the British, Calcutta was its capital. What is India? Former capitals for 800. The nationalists ruled it from Nanking. What is China? Former capitals for a grand. Up, daily double. I think I can wager everything. That'll put... now let's do... oh, what the heck. Let's wager everything. And here's the clue. In the Middle Ages, its seat of state was Krakow. What is Poland? All right. World War II for 200. He had nothing to offer but blood, toil, tears and sweat. Who is Sir Winston Churchill? World War II for 400. The last German offensive of the war. Dieters are still fighting it. What is the Battle of the Bulge? World War II for 800. No, World War II for 600. Excuse me. This country's plans were euphemistically called Greater East Asia Co-Prosperity Sphere. What is Japan? World War II for 800. Developer of the Nazi V-2 rockets which fell on London, he later worked for the U.S. Who is Werner von Braun? Werner, excuse me. Oops. All right. World War II for a grand. Implicated in the plot against Hitler, this desert fox committed suicide. See if Gail gets this. Field Marshal Erwin Rommel. Uh-huh. Where are you taking us, Gail? She picks Music for 1,000. Hot hit for both the Doors and Jose Feliciano. What is Light My Fire? All right. Music for 200. He was partnered with Oscar Hammerstein and Lorenz Hart. Who is Richard Rogers? Music for 4. Music field where you'd find these candles. These Charlies. Walker, Pride, and Rich. What is country? I'm sorry, what is country? There we go. Music for 6. Side of the street to direct your feet after leaving your troubles on your doorstep. On the doorstep. What is the sunny side? Music for 8. The month they tried to remember in the Fantastics. What is September? All right. Generals for 200. The last president who was a general. Who was it? Dwight D. Eisenhower. Generals for 400. There were 31 assassination attempts on this French general and president. Who is Charles de Gaulle. Generals for 6. Later an Israeli general, he lost an eye fighting for the British. Who is Moshe Dayan. Generals for 8. Old Blood and Guts. He was a tank commander in both world wars. See if Gail can get this. General George Patton. That's it. Literature for 200. Sports specialty of Isaac Walton's Complete Weather. I have no idea. Gail may play. I just didn't have any idea what the answer was. See if Gail can get this. Who was it? What was it? Fishing! That's it. Where are we going, Gail? Literature for 4. According to Keats, it's a joy forever. What was it? A Thing of Beauty. That was a tough one. Literature for 6. Washington Irving character who slept through the Revolutionary War. $800. Short story specialist who whose colorful characters became Broadway's Guys and Dolls. Damon Runyon, yes. You got it. Only 1,000 clues left. Just 2 of them. T.S. Eliot wrote his love song. J. Alfred Prufrock. Yep. One clue left. This Civil War... General wrote Ben-Hur, who is Lew Wallace. Uh-huh. Looks like we're going to be around for Final Jeopardy. Category for Final Jeopardy is state capitals. I'm going to wager $4,200. It's a clue. The most populous state capital. It falls alphabetically between Olympia and Pierre. What is Phoenix? All right. It's Phoenix, so we got it right. George wins the game with $40,000. I'll see you for my next guest gameplay.